Yes, so we are still in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Just to flash back again what we had discussed in our previous discussion. So Arjuna was asking 6 questions. Yeah. Anybody still remember what are those things that Arjuna asked? The 6 items that Arjuna asked in the beginning of chapter 13. Anybody still remember? Or one devotee can mention one thing?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes,
Prakriti, Purushas,
okay,
knower of the field, the body, the field, and knower of the field.
Okay.
Other 2 8.
2 more. Thank you. Good effort. Yeah. Any other devotees? So Mataji have mentioned Prakriti, Purusha, etc. and Kshetragya. 2 more.
Knowledge and object of knowledge.
Yeah. Knowledge, Jnanam, and Gyayam, the object of knowledge. Thank you. So these are 6 things that Arjuna asked. Yeah. Kshetra, Kshetragya, Jnanam, Gyayam, Purusha, and Prakriti. Prakriti and Purusha. So Lord Krishna already answered up to text number 26. Lord Krishna answered all Arjuna's queries, and even Lord Krishna also explained the union between Purusha and Prakriti. So now, in the last section of the chapter, we will be discussing about the Jnana Chakshusha. What is the vision of a person who possesses real knowledge? Yeah, so that is the last part of this chapter. Okay. Jnana Chakshusha, the vision of knowledge. Yeah, 27 to 35. Those who see the distinction between the body, its owner, and the super soul, and who recognize the process of liberation can attain the supreme goal. So text number 27. So Lord Krishna continued, O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. So Krishna mentioned here that the living entity, the moving living entity, both moving and non-moving, they're actually combination of the jiva and prakriti. Yeah. Prabhupada explained, whatever is created is but a combination of living entity and material nature. There are many manifestations like trees, mountains, and hills which are not moving. And there are many existences which are moving. And all of them are but combinations of material nature and the superior nature, the living entity. Without the touch of the superior nature, the living entity, nothing can grow. Yeah. So Prabhupada many times also he explained that the body without the soul is simply a dead matter. So why the body grows? Because there is soul inside the body. Yeah. So these are the combination between jiva and the prakriti. Just like a car, although a car complete in itself, complete in itself, but without a driver, so the car will not move. Even sometimes nowadays we may see that there is an automatic car, but at least there should be a person to switch on the button to start in the beginning the car. So this body without the soul is simply a dead matter and will not grow. Yeah. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana explains that Prakriti and the Jiva have been united since time immemorial. Krishna continues to describe their separate individual existence in the next verse. Yeah. Text number 28. One who sees. Now this is how the Jnana Chakshusha, the person who possesses knowledge, sees everything. Yeah. This is the vision of a person who is in knowledge. Yeah. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul is all in all body, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. Now we go back, we are going back to the chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So this philosophy that nahanyate hanyamane sarire, yeah, when the body is dead, actually the real person, which is the soul, is not dead. Yeah, nahanyate hanyamane sarire. So if a person can see this process, actually the body is destructible, but the jiva who resides within the body is eternal. And not only that, but he sees the super soul accompanying that jiva within the body. It doesn't matter what kind of body. It may be dog body, human body, or worm's body, who love to be in the stool. Still, the Paramatma is there to accompany the jiva. And then the person who has this kind of vision will respect each individuality. So in that way, he can become a samadarshi, person who can see with the equal vision. Yeah, all living entities. Prabhupada says, anyone who, by good association, can see three things combined together: the body, the proprietor of the body, or the individual soul, and the friend of the individual soul, is actually in knowledge. Okay, can distinguish between the body and the jiva or the soul, and can see the super soul within. So that's real knowledge. Yeah. Those who do not have such association are ignorant. They simply see the body and they think that when the body is destroyed, everything is finished. But actually, it is not so. Okay, so this purport is clear. So here, Prabhupada is talking about good association. Yeah, in these two parts, small section of the purport, good association. So how a person gets the transcendental knowledge is through good association. Yeah, through a devotee association. Text 29. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. If one understands that the Supreme is situated in his Paramatma manifestation everywhere, that is, if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living entity, in every living thing, he does not degrade himself by a destructive mentality, and he therefore gradually advances to the spiritual world. Yeah, because he sees Krishna's presence everywhere. Yeah, Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra Sarvam Chamai Pasyati. He sees Krishna everywhere and everything actually within Krishna. So in this way, actually, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Yeah, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And in this way, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, gradually he will advance to the spiritual world. Yeah. So this is a quote from Sarendra Anchumi. One should be neither disturbed nor envious. He must act properly and see the super soul, the ultimate sanctioning agent present in all beings. Yeah, Upadrashta and Anumanta. So this is the position of Krishna within the body. Yeah. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bhakta Bhakta Maheshwaram Paramat Meti Chapyukto Dehesmin Purusha Para. Krishna explained in the previous verse that he is the Upadrashta, meaning he is the seer. Yeah, and then the Anumanta, the sanction giver. How he gives his sanction? By observing first. Yeah. So how he observed our act? Through the agent, or through his manifestation, expansion as the Paramatma. Yeah. So we get everything according to Krishna's sanction, and his sanction through his vision. Yeah. First he observed, and then he sanctioned accordingly. Yeah. Paramatmeti chapi uta. Krishna says Paramatmeti. So he resides as Paramatma. Dehesmin Purusha, Dehesmin, within this body. Yeah. So there is nothing called by chance. So we get what we deserve. That's the rules here. Yeah. We get what we deserve. Our happiness and distress is already allotted. We have our quota of being happy and being distressed in the material world. And that's according to Krishna's vision and Krishna's sanction. And the next verse, text number 30, one who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. This topic is heading toward our next chapter, yeah, about the three modes of material nature. So Krishna mentioned here that the living entity is actually not the doer. Yeah. So who is the doer? Is the three modes of material nature. So the body acts according to the influence of the modes of material nature. But still, we cannot blame anybody, anybody else, especially we blame Krishna, if we act silly against the rules and regulation in the Shastra, and when we get the punishment, still we are to be blamed. Because although we are not the actual doer, still we have the independency to choose what action that we want to perform. But most of the case, while performing activities, we are actually influenced by the three modes of material nature. Prabhupada says, to fulfill desires, one is given the body, with which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Because of desires, one is put into difficult circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. One who has such a vision is an actual seer. So this is a person in knowledge. Yeah, he sees that he, the individual soul, separate from the body. So here is the example I give you. Just like a car and the car owner. Yeah, I think I have mentioned this in the past. So when a person identifies himself with the body, so if something happened to the body, that actually give the impression or influences the happiness and distress of the jiva, who is actually experiencing happiness and distress. The jiva through the agency of the mind, because the mind has the capability to sparsa, means to perceive something, whether it is happiness or distress. Yeah, that's the person who identifies himself with the body. Yeah, if something happened to the body, so that influences his happiness and distress. Just like a person who possesses a car, for example. Yeah, who possesses a car, he has a new car. He just buy a new car, and somehow or other on the street while driving, another car just hit his car. Yet actually the driver, the owner of the car, was completely fine. Only the new car just it gets a little scratch or something damage in the car. Although the owner of the car is completely all right, he feels the pain while seeing the car is broken. Why? Because he is too attached with his new car. But he is completely all right. So similarly, that's our situation. when one is too attached with the body, identifying himself with the body, so if something happened with this material gross body, so his mentality will be affected. So as if the jiva, the soul, is experiencing happiness and distress, but actually he has nothing to do with this material body, right? It is only due to our attachment. We feel happiness, the sense of happiness, and the sense of distress. Just like the owner of the car, although he is all right, completely all right, because his car is damaged. Yeah, so he feels the pain. Yeah, if he washes his car nicely, looks clean, so he feels happy, right? So as simple as that. Yeah. Next, number 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains the Brahman conception. Yeah, the living entities are everywhere. The scientists, say that life is only taking place in this earth. Yeah. Now they try to do some experiments. They try to go to Mars, let's say. They try to go to Mars and try to find whether water is there or not, because water is the symptom of life. But this is actually a very silly argument, because the soul is eternal. Even life is in the sun. There is life in the sun. Yeah. Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayanti apo, na society marutaha. Soul cannot be cut to pieces by weapon, sastra. Yeah. Cannot be burned by fire, cannot be moistened by water, cannot be dried up by wind. So even in the sun planet, there is life, there is soul. The matter is that the bodily structure is different. So there is life everywhere. In the moon, there is life. In other planets, in Mars, there is life. Yeah? Because the soul is eternal. This is the thing that the scientist doesn't know. Yeah? Actually, that's very simple to understand. But they love to speculate. They love to do some research, which is actually spending millions and millions of dollars, and for nothing. And they plan in the future that actually when the earth no longer able to provide the needs of human beings, so they will shift human being to Mars. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Actually, the earth, mother nature, mother bhumi, enough to provide our needs, but not enough to provide our greeds. That's the thing. Yeah. So life, the spirit soul spread all over. Yeah, all over. Yeah. When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees in the material conception of life, we find someone demigod, someone a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. This is material vision, not actual vision. So the point of this verse is that as long as we see a person from the materialistic point of view, meaning seeing the body, so that is not a perfect vision. That is material vision. Yeah. But when a person realizes that actually, yes, that person, that entity is actually a jiva who entrapped in a certain body, a certain material body due to his previous desire, that's actually the real vision. All bodies must one day cease to exist. Therefore, when we see many different individuals, we should stop seeing them as their field of activities. Yeah. And text 32. Those with a vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite a contact with material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Interesting here. Yeah. Krishna says that the soul is not entangled. But in the next chapter, we will see how the soul is entangled due to the influence of the three modes of material nature. Yeah. It seems that Krishna is saying something which is contradiction here. And we have to understand that is Krishna's nature, to always say something contradiction. Yeah. But the understanding here is that when Krishna says that actually the soul is not entangled, because we have to understand clearly the constitutional position of the soul and the real nature of the soul, which is always pure. Which is always pure. Okay, remember, even when the soul gets the body of a dog, that soul is actually always pure. Because that jiva is the jiva angsa of Krishna. The part and parcel of the Lord. The Lord is pure, so the soul is always pure. Therefore, Krishna here mentioned that the soul is never entangled, and that is the fact. But later in the next chapter, we see that Krishna will explain how the jiva entangled. How to understand this? That actually he just misidentified his own position. So the entanglement is actually artificial. Yet the soul is experiencing as if he really entangled. Just like this. I give you an example. Just like in a dream. Srila Prabhupada gave very beautiful analogy in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like in a dream, a person may have some dream he's fighting with the sword, for example, and he get his chopped off by the enemy. Now, in that dream, his head is chopped off. But he can see that actually his head is off. How he's seeing his head is off, the eyes is in that head. He experiencing it real, that yes, my head is gone. But actually, that's not at all real. Yeah, makes sense? How he see that his head is chopped off? Because his eyes are on the head. So it's just simply a dream, illusion. So when the jiva is entangled, it's just illusion. It's artificial. It's just like a dream. Another example given by Srila Prabhupada is just like a person chased by a tiger. Yeah, a person may experience such a disaster in his life, being chased by a tiger. And even while sleeping, he was sweating because of that dream. But actually, there is no tiger at all. It's just in a dream. Yeah. So the entanglement of the jiva is just simply artificial. Yet, although being artificial, the jiva really feel it because of misidentification. As soon as a person wakes up from the dream, from the sleep, so he come back to reality and there is no tiger, and his head still remain there, attached with the body. So the soul is also like that. We are now in the illusion state, in the dreaming state. Yeah. Actually, the soul can never be entangled. The entanglement is simply artificial and illusion due to misidentification with the material body. Okay. I hope that's not confusing. Yeah. As simple as that to understand this. A living entity appears to be born because of the birth of the material body. But actually, the living entity is eternal. He is not born, and in spite of his being situated in the material body, He is transcendental and eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. You see, Srila Prabhupada explained here. In spite of his being situated in a material body, he is transcendental and eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in any material activities. Therefore, the activities performed due to his contact with material bodies do not entangle him. Yeah, clear here. It is only our illusion. Yeah. Yaya samohito jiva atmanam tri gunatmam paro pipanutenatam tat kritam chabipadete. Yeah. The Bhagavatam explains Yaya samohita, because of bewilderment. Yeah, thinking that himself is the body. Atmanam tri guna atmakam. So he thinks now that he is the product of the material nature, of the modes of material nature. Atmanam tri guna atmakam. But in reality, paropi manutenatam. He is para. Para means above this conception, the three modes of material nature. And then tat kritam chavipadyate. Suffers, he enjoys due to this bewilderment, samohitaha, due to his bewilderment. Therefore, the living entity gets enjoyment and distress because of this illusion. Yeah. But constitutional position, he always blissful. Yeah, Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and blissful. Text number 33. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. This is the situation of a person who is liberated. Yeah. Who is liberated. When a person completely understands that he is not the body, yeah, Aham Brahmasmi, so he's actually liberated. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain this. Yeah. Using science, materialistic experiments, one can never understand this philosophy. Yeah. Just recently means maybe like 10 years ago. Yeah. I was told one story of a doctor that he was trying his best to save his patient, with whatever science and knowledge and advancement in technology they have, try to save a patient's life. But then still the patient is gone, meaning he died. Yeah. Then this doctor declared that actually, yes, there is a soul within the body because all the organs is complete. The bodily organs is complete. The heart is healthy, meaning that they transplant the heart, they transplant the liver, kidney, everything seems to be functioning properly. And then this doctor said, our science is defeated. The soul is gone means although this body is complete, but death still occurs. And he declared that, yes, there is soul within the body. Why, after millions of lifetimes, we have to waste our time, just to discover, just to believe the scripture, there is soul within the body. Yeah. So matter and spirit do not mix. Yeah. Just like you try to mix oil and water. Oil and water. If you put inside the bottle oil and water, and then you shake it. For some time, it looks like mixing, but if you keep it uh, peaceful for some time, so the water will goes down, the oil will go up, because they don't mix. Yeah, they don't mix. The body and the jiva cannot mix. Although for some time the jiva and the body mixing, but as soon as the body is destroyed, so the body will go to the totality of the air, the water, the earth, etc. And the jiva will remain separate from the body. And then text 34. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all the universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Yeah, consciousness is the proof that the jiva is residing within the body. If there is no consciousness, then there is no soul. As the sun is situated in one place, but is illuminating the whole universe, so a small particle of spirit soul, although situated in the heart of this body, is illuminating the whole body by consciousness. Thus, consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul, as sunshine or sunlight is the proof of the presence of the sun. When the soul is present in the body, there is consciousness all over the body. As soon as the soul has passed from the body, there is no more consciousness. This can be easily understood by any intelligent man. Yeah. I think this purport is clear and the verse is clear. Yeah. The proof of the soul residing in the body is by consciousness. Yeah. The person conscious, that means he is alive. And that living symptoms is the consciousness. Yeah. The jiva. And then text 35, the last verse of the chapter. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain the supreme goal. Yeah. The purport of the 13th chapter is that one should know the distinction between the body, the owner of the body, and the super soul. One should recognize the process of liberation as described in verses 8 through 12. Yeah, there are 20 items of knowledge. Then one can go on to the supreme destination, a faithful person. So that first have some good association to hear of God, and thus gradually become enlightened. If one accepts a spiritual master, one can learn to distinguish between matter and spirit, and that becomes the stepping stone for further spiritual realization. Yeah, last quote of this section from Srila Prabhupada. So now it is your choice. This body is given to you. Now you make your choice, whatever you want to have in this material world. Better facilities, better duration of life, or if you want to degrade yourself to the animal life, or if you want to go to Krishna Loka, everything, whatever you want, you can get. And this is the chance, this human form body, you make your choice. Yeah. So just to conclude, just to conclude the discussion of the 13th chapter. So Krishna was asked by Arjuna in the beginning, the sixth item, yeah. What is etc. Gya, the field, the knower of the field, Jnanam, knowledge, Gyayam, the object of knowledge, and then Prakriti and Purusha. So from text 8 to 20, this is very important verses, where Krishna explained about Jnana, yeah, the process of knowledge, and it starts from Amanitva, yeah, from humility, as we discussed in the previous class, that without humility it is impossible to receive knowledge. And how knowledge should be culminate. It should be culminate today. Bhakti Avya Vicharana, pure devotional service to the Lord. As Srila Prabhupada explained, unless and until one realizes the absolute truth and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the 19 items of knowledge is useless. Yeah, it's useless. So, and then Krishna explained about Gyaya. Gyaya means the object of knowledge. What are the object of knowledge? The soul and the spirit soul. Yeah. The topmost object, of course, to pursue our devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yeah, Krishna is the topmost object of knowledge. And then Krishna explained about Prakriti and Purusha and their union. And in the last section of the chapter, we discuss about the vision of a person in Gyan or Jnana Chakshusha. Yeah, he will see three things here. First, he see the body, meaning the body is separate from the jiva. He see the jiva, and then most important is that he see Krishna's presence in every living entity's heart. So in that way, he doesn't distinguish. He doesn't differentiate. He doesn't differentiate that this person is different from that person because he see the jiva and the super soul. And actually, when a person can distinguish between the body and the spirit or the jiva, he is actually liberated. Liberation starts when a person realizing that he's the spirit soul. That is the fundamental knowledge that one has to possess and realize in order to get liberation. And in the last verse, Srila Prabhupada in his purport mentioned that only through good association, how this liberation starts, only through good association, one will get the chance to hear about God, yeah, to serve the devotees. Yeah. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukti. So Dwaram Ahur Vimukti, meaning the path of liberation, the door, the Dwara, the door of liberation is open when a person serve a Mahatma. Yeah, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktis. But Tamo Dwaram Yositam Sangi Sangha. In opposite way, if a person associate with the materialistic people, Tamo Dwaram, the Dwaram, the door toward darkness is open. Mahantaste Samachita Prashanta Vimaneva Shubhridam Sadhavu. The symptoms of a great person is that he is in knowledge in the scripture. Samachita Prashanta. He sees every living entity equally. Yeah. So that is Mahatma, a devotee. We have to serve devotee. And most important service to a devotee is to listen from that devotee. To listen from that devotee. So in that way, one can attain liberation. Of course, liberation is not at all our main objection, but liberation is granted when a person develops love for Krishna. So that is the vision of a person in knowledge, yeah, in jnana. So heading toward the next chapter entitled the Triguna Yoga or the three modes of material nature, how it is connected? Because when a jiva enters into the material nature, so the jiva will be influenced automatically by the three modes of material nature. So the beginning of the 14th chapter, Krishna will explain about the entanglement of the jiva by the three modes of material nature. And then what are the symptoms of a person influenced by modes of sattva gun, rajagun, tamogun? Yeah. Even a person situated in sattva gun or the mode of goodness, still he is entangled. Yeah, still he is entangled. Interestingly, later we'll see that a person who is situated in the mode of goodness is bound by the sense of knowledge and happiness. How? He becomes proud and sees others down. That's how he is entangled. Yeah, interesting. I was thinking in the beginning that, wow, a person in the mode of sattva gun is completely like liberated, but still this mode is entangling. Yeah. So therefore, saguna and samatidya, we have to translate. That will be explained by Krishna at the end of the chapter 14. Yeah. Even we have to transcend the mode of goodness. Sagunan samadhi jaitan brahma bhuya yakalpati. How mamchayo vya vicharina bhakti yogena seva. By performing unalloyed pure devotional service to the Lord. Yeah. So that is the synopsis of chapter 14. Before entering chapter 14, were there any questions regarding chapter 13?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, in our verse 13.27, you explained that all the moving and non-moving things are the creation of material nature and superior energy. Moving, I can understand, Prabhu, but non-moving things like a hill and a mountain, how it is creation of superior energy, how it comes into play? I don't understand. It's
Yes.
pure creation of material nature. I am under the impression. How the superior energy comes into play there, Prabhu?
Thank you. Very nice question. Yeah. So moving and non-moving. Moving is easy to understand, right? But what about the non-moving, like the stone, like the mountain? Well, still, because we have to understand that Krishna is entering into atoms, each atom. So the stone, the mountain, actually they have their personalities. Yeah. Of course, nowadays we don't see mountain flying. Yeah. In the Vedic time, we see some description that how Indra was chopping the wings of the mountain. Yeah. So, but the understanding is that the spirit soul and the super soul spread all over, including in the non-moving objects. Well, when Krishna mentioned there such as trees, we still understand because the trees are growing, the grass are growing. But what about the mountain? Well, still, the soul is entering into that. And the spirit, the super soul is entering as the Paramatma within atom. Each atom, Krishna is present there. So it is there. Yeah. But here is the thing, our material contaminated senses cannot perceive such a high philosophy. Yeah, such philosophy, we don't understand that. We cannot perceive that, we cannot understand, because we are in a different reality at the moment. We are observing something based on our experience. Yeah. But if we see the description in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, even non-moving objects such as stone in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, they are alive. These small stone, the pebbles, they talk amongst themselves, saying that, oh, we have to make our body soft because Krishna is without shoes. So when Krishna step on us, so he will not feel hurt. So that's in the spiritual platform. So now here we are in the material platform. We cannot perceive all these things. Yeah. But the reality is that, the fact is that, as what Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, that yes, both moving and non-moving. Yeah. Krishna is present there. The spirit soul is present there. That is a combination of the Jiva and Prakriti. We may not find it moving. We may think it's just a dead matter. There's no soul there, but the soul is everywhere. Yeah. The thing is that our limited eyes cannot see that. Therefore, we cannot perceive that, because the foolish philosophy is that seeing is believing. Yeah, you heard this. Seeing is believing. But as I mentioned, I think in the previous class, if you don't see air, does it mean that it doesn't exist? No, it exists, right? So now the non-moving object like mountain, like stone, we don't see that there is living entity there because they're not growing, they're not moving. But in fact, there are unlimited living entities, and the spirit soul, the super soul, accompanying the spirit soul in every atom. One time, Indrajumna Maharaj was, when he was in France, when he was in France. So Prabhupada visited that place, France. Maharaj said that he was asking question. So Prabhupada, you are explaining that actually a pure devotee never separate from Krishna. Yeah. But in Siksasakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood is actually exhibited by separation between Krishna and his devotees. How to understand this? And Prabhupada said, very good question. And Prabhupada continued, now we may not understand this, difficult to understand. But as we are progressing in our Krishna consciousness, Krishna will reveal himself and give you the answer, give you the understanding. So now, regarding these non-moving objects, I already explained like this. Krishna is mentioning like that. But although after being explained, our brain still said that no, it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. But somehow or other, just accept it for now. As we are progressing in our Krishna consciousness, Krishna will give more understanding, and we will realize maybe after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years. And when we read the same verse, we get new realization. Yeah. But the fact is that it is the combination between the jiva and the nature, the prakriti. And the Ishvara, the spirit soul, is residing there, even in the non-moving objects.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes we think that it doesn't make sense at all. But that's Krishna's praman. He mentioned that. Whether you believe or not, just continue practicing. And one day you will open this chapter again, you will read the same verse, you will get new realization. That's happened to me and happened to many of us, I believe. Yeah. We may have read this Bhagavad Gita for many times. How many years now we already in Krishna consciousness? But when we read this Bhagavad Gita again and again, we find new realization. Because as we are chanting, the purification taking place. And because this is a transcendental subject matter, you cannot understand this transcendental subject matter depending on how intelligent your brain is. It's all about revelation. What Krishna says in the chapter 7, still remember? Naham prakasa sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha mudhoyam nabijanati lokomam ajam avyaya. Krishna says, I don't reveal myself to everybody. Naham prakasa sarvasya. I don't reveal it to everybody. But Krishna chooses to whom and when he will reveal himself. Yeah. We may sit together here in this forum and we read the same book, but we may have different understanding, different realization, because we are on a different level of sadhana, maybe it could be, or different levels of purity. We don't know, right? Therefore, understanding Bhagavad Gita is completely depending on Krishna and Guru's mercy.
Correct.
Yeah. But that's the, how I can say, trying to explain to the best of my capability, yeah, based on what I have heard, yeah, what I have read, what I have heard from the authoritative sources. Yeah, sometimes we just write it down. Okay, the explanation is like this. Maybe not making sense at the moment, but later we'll find the difference. Yeah. Any other questions?
Prabhu, I'm sorry. In continuation, I have one more question, Prabhu. In 13.27, 28, Prabhu, we refer to the body, proprietor of the body, and the friend of the individual soul. The friend here refers to Lord Krishna, Prabhu?
Yeah, the Subhridam Sarvabhutana, the super soul. Yeah, the Paramatma.
Okay. Paramatma. Oh, thanks, Prabhu.
Yes, so the body, the soul, and the Paramatma.
Paramatma.
Yeah, when a person can see these three things, So he is in knowledge. He is the real seer.
Okay.
That's what Krishna meant to say that. Yeah. So the friend of the soul is the Paramatma. I'm all set, Prabhu. You raise your hand.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just to add to what you said, like our scriptures, we have Govardhan Parvat, which we considered as Krishna himself. So that is one more example we can take. Like in most of our scriptures, it has been very elaborately mentioned how exactly other non-moving entities are also having Krishna in it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. Govardhan is one of the examples. Yeah. Govardhan that we seeing now. Govardhan. Of course, for the common man, for the non-devotees, Govardhan is just hip of a hill, hip of a stone. But for us, who has different vision, we respect the Govardhan because it has its personality. And actually, Govardhan is not different from Krishna. Sri Govardhana Namine, Namaste Girirajaya Sri Govardhana Namine, Asesha Klesha Nasaya, Paramananda Dayini. So, by offering obeisances to Govardhan, who is not different from Krishna, Asesha Klesha, Govardhan will destroy our klesha, miseries, and Parama Ananda Dayini, and will give us a lot of happiness, the supreme bliss, yeah, spiritual bliss. Yeah, we can see in that way also. For devotees, Govardhan is Krishna, but for the non-devotees, Govardhan is just a hill. So that is the different vision between a person in knowledge and those who are not. Okay, thank you so much. Now we have to move to the next chapter. The three guna yoga, yeah, the three modes of material nature. Oh, yeah, look at this picture. Very nice. One of my favorite picture is this. You know, when I was a kid, I'm telling you about this picture. When I was a kid, I'm seeing this picture. So I thought that these three personalities, they are all Krishnas. They are all Krishnas. But yes, it is Krishna's energy. Yeah, it is Krishna's energy. But seeing the beautiful picture of these three representation of the three modes of material nature, I was thinking that it is Krishna. All of them are Krishna. Yeah, but Krishna is situated on the top of these three personalities. Yeah, indicating that the three modes of material nature is controlled by Krishna. So the three modes of material nature, chapter 14. Yeah. Chapter 13 describes the conditioned soul as distinct from material nature, yet entangled by it, trapped within his field of activities. Chapter 14 reveals in details how the living entity is limited and controlled by the powerful shackles of material nature. The three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. At the end of this chapter, Krishna informed us how to attain freedom from these. Okay. So text 1 to 9 will be discussing about conditioning of the modes. Yeah. This is the breakup. Krishna glorifies the pure knowledge. 1 to 2. And then 3 to 4, the jiva's contact with Prakriti. And then 5 to 9 is how the material modes bind the jiva. Text number 1, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again, I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection." So in this verse, Krishna speaks the highest knowledge. Yeah? The knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far in other chapters. By understanding this knowledge, various great sages attained perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord now explained the same knowledge in a better way. This knowledge is far, far superior to all other process of knowledge thus far explained, and knowing this, many attain perfection, Thus, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan explained Krishna's words. Again, I will speak a kind of knowledge different from what I have spoken so far. It deals scientifically with the modes of nature. It is the best of all kinds of knowledge about the Prakriti and Jiva, and it resembles a distillation of yogurt from milk. Realizing this knowledge and meditating upon it thoughtfully, all great sages attain in this very world correct perception of the Supreme Soul. Interesting here, yeah. Just like Krishna ended the 9th chapter by saying that Man Mana Pavat Bhakti Jiva. So that is the topmost knowledge that we can get. Yeah, meditate upon Krishna, thinking about Krishna becomes Krishna's devotee, offering obeisances. Yeah, this is the process of bhakti. Yeah, bhakti is the topmost. And then in the 10th chapter, Krishna starts by, now I shall explain to you something which is far superior, much better than I have explained to you so far. Yeah, that's still exception. We still accept that, because in chapter 10, Krishna explained about the Chatusloki, that is the essence. And then in the 11th chapter, toward the end, Prabhupada explained this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, mat karma krin mat paramo. We have to dedicate all our activities to Krishna, considering him to be the supreme object. And then in chapter 12, devotional service. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga, where Krishna is explaining what qualities that one should possess in order to become very, very dear to the Lord. Yeah, the whole section is talking about bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. And now we are thinking that is done, that is complete. There's no higher knowledge than that. And in this chapter, about the 3 modes of material nature, Krishna says, this is much more superior than whatever I have spoken before. So how can we consider that this topic of the 3 modes of material nature superior than the topic of bhakti? Yeah. One thing we have to understand that actually, while speaking long, we have to encourage the audience. Yeah, this is one way how to encourage the audience. Now I'll give you better things, better stuff to hear. Yeah, those who are sleepy maybe awaken again. Oh, now is the best part of the talk. But another way how we assess the situation is that Krishna is giving so much solution in the beginning, but now he's giving us what is the cause, what is the problem, because we cannot assimilate, we cannot understand the method how to overcome something without knowing the root cause, the problem. Yeah. So the 3 modes of material nature is the root cause of the problem, the root cause of the entanglement. Yeah. Although Krishna already explained bhakti thoroughly in the middle 6 chapters of the Gita, but without knowing the cause of our entanglement, then it's just a dry philosophy. We have to come to the bottom to understand, to analyze, just like we go to a doctor. First they will check your heartbeat, or if you go to an Ayurvedic physician, he will check your pulse, and then based on that he will know that your bodily constitution, whether it is kapha, vata, or pitta, and then he will give the treatment. Yeah. So similarly, Krishna is already giving us bhakti, devotion. This is the solution. Now we have to understand the problem in order to understand a better way how to apply the philosophy. Yeah. So when we understand this knowledge about the intricacy of the 3 modes of material nature, our path toward liberation and perfection is begin. Text number 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Yeah, of course, ultimately this chapter will explain about bhakti. Yeah, Mamchayo vya vicharena bhakti yogena sevat. Yeah, we are heading toward bhakti again. But the way how Krishna put it in the beginning is to awaken the audience. Yeah? This is better knowledge, and ultimately it's lead up to bhakti. So bhakti is always superior, yeah, the topmost. So in this text, Krishna talks about the result of attaining that knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Yeah. The result is that one becomes established. Yeah. He will not be, he will not take birth again at the time of creation, and he will not be disturbed at the time of annihilation. Yeah. Because at the time of annihilation, he's confident enough that he will go back home, back to Godhead. That's why Krishna mentioned here, if one is fixed in transcendental knowledge, he will attain Krishna's nature. Prabhupada said, after acquiring perfect transcendental knowledge, one acquires qualitative equality with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, becoming free from the repetition of birth and death. One does not, however, lose his identity as an individual soul. Prabhupada's explanation here, he tried to make it clear that liberation doesn't mean merge with Godhead. We keep our own individuality. In the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. There are spiritual activities, and the spiritual situation is called devotional life. That atmosphere is said to be uncontaminated, and there one is equal in quality with the Supreme Lord. Okay, we are equal in quality, not in the quantity. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan states that we attain this knowledge by worshipping the feet of our spiritual master. That's why every day we perform Guru Puja. Yeah. What we sing on Guru Puja. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya. So the word emanates from the spiritual master. We have to accept that. Yeah. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakash. So the Divya Gyan, the transcendental knowledge, manifests in our heart, Hriday Prakash, only by the mercy of the spiritual master. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Prashada, Bhagavad Prashada. There are so many evidence just to support this point that Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan mentioned, that how to get the transcendental knowledge by serving the spiritual master. So after glorifying the knowledge that he is about to reveal, Krishna began to explain the relationship between material nature, the conditioned living entities, and himself. Yeah. So the next verse, we'll talk about that. Text number 3. The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the birth of all living beings, O son of Bharata. So we are talking about creation here a little bit, because when we talk about the three modes of material nature, naturally the creation comes to picture. When we talk about creation, naturally the three modes of material nature comes to picture. So they are all interrelated. Yeah? So Brahman here refers to the Pradhan, Pradhan or the Mahat Tattva. Yeah? So the Jiva's contact with Prakriti. This is the explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya, the body and the spirit soul. This combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the Supreme God himself, the Mahatattva, okay? Or sometimes it is called Pradhan also, it is Mahatattva. is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation, which is Mahatattva. And that total substance of the material cause, in which there are three modes of nature, is sometimes called Brahman. So Brahman here refers to the original ingredients of the creation. Yeah, original creations, original ingredients of the creation. Remember, in the previous chapter we discussed about the 24 components, 24 main ingredients for the cosmic manifestation or the material body, and the three modes of material nature is included there. So the Mahat Tattva or Pradhan is sometimes called Brahman. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy here about the scorpion born from the rice. This is about those who are less intelligent, thinking that the jiva or the living entity is the product of material nature. But Prabhupada wrote specifically a book called Life Comes from Life. That means the jiva is not the product of the material nature. Just like this analogy, scorpion. Sometimes scorpion comes into the pile of rice, in the bag of rice, and lay egg there, and then left. By the due course of times, this egg will hatch. And then the foolish people will think that actually this baby scorpion born from the rice. Yeah, but actually it is not. So similarly, the living entity is not the product of material nature. The jiva is not product of material nature, because life cannot come from matter. Life comes from life. Yeah. Here, Srila Prabhupada words. The scorpion lays its eggs in piles of rice, and sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice. But the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. Similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of the living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Yeah. So the jiva, who is actually situated in the deep slumber in the body of Mahavishnu at the time of creation, through Krishna's glance, the jiva is thrown out or invested in the material world. Yeah. So that's the science here. Text number 4. Here is very famous sloka. It's a classic verse where actually Krishna proclaims that the jiva comes from him. He is the father, the seeds of all living entities. Yeah, sarva yonishu kauntaya murtaya sambhavantiyaha. Tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. Krishna mentioned here, aham bija, meaning he is the seed giving father of pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. In this verse, it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are a combination of the material nature and the spiritual nature. Yeah. So the Prakriti is the mother, and Krishna is the father. Yeah, the father injects a seed to a mother, then a son or a daughter, children may appear. So that's the combination, yeah, between the jiva and prakriti. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out with various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds, yeah, according to their karma. Karmana Daiva Netrina, according to their karma, and Daiva Netrina, Krishna's supervision. Yeah. Next, number 5. Material nature consists of 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So now is this verse Krishna start mentioning in more elaborate way about the 3 modes of material nature. The jiva's bondage under the spell of modes. The living entity, because he is transcendental, has nothing to do with his material nature. Still, because he has become conditioned by the material world, he is acting under the spell of the 3 modes of material nature. As I mentioned earlier in the early discussion, that that conditioning is simply illusion. Yeah, simply illusion. And artificially we act under the 3 modes of natural nature. Yeah, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha. So gunai karmani sarvasaha, the 3 modes are the doer, but due to our ahankar, false ego, ahankar iti yame bina prakriti asana, we think that we are the doer, but actually in fact the doer are the 3 modes. Yeah, this is from Sarana Antami. We have misused our minute independence. Out of enmity toward Krishna, we have rejected our constitutional position as his servitor. Therefore, we had to come to the temporary material world of illusion. See, it is simply illusion because of our misusing our minute independency. Yeah, we come in contact with the material world and we put into illusion. What it is mentioned here, that due to our enmity toward Krishna, meaning that due to the icha and dvesha, yeah, icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoha sarge yanti parantapa. Yeah. So icha means material desire, desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, and dvesha means envious. We envy Krishna because he is the supreme enjoyer. So we want to enjoy. In that way, actually, we exhibit our enmity toward Krishna, and he gives us this facility here. And as soon as we are here, we are attacked by the 3 modes of material nature and put into illusion. Here, another question from Ramakrishna's Prabhu. In chapter 9.2, Lord Krishna says it is the king of knowledge, but in 14, it is the supreme. How to understand this? Yes. Don't worry, there is no contradiction here. Yeah. Raja Vidya. Yeah. Raja Guhyam Pavitram Vidam. Krishna says that in chapter 2. Sorry, in chapter 9, text 2. And here in chapter 14, Krishna says it is supreme knowledge. Yeah. Actually, they are non-different. When Krishna explained the Raja Vidya Yoga, Raja Vidya, or the king of knowledge in chapter 9, he meant by devotional service. And here, why the 3 modes of material nature considered to be the supreme knowledge? Because that is the root cause by which we are entangled here. And ultimately, Krishna will lead us toward devotional service is the only way by which we can surpass the 3 modes of material nature. So don't worry, there's no contradiction here. Yeah. Your book in the front of you, you can see that. Yeah, text number 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than others is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reaction. Those situated in that mode becoming conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. This is how the mode of goodness bind the living entity, yeah, by the sense of happiness and knowledge. I'm sorry, I have cough and cold since few days. Weather change here in Mayapur getting cold. Purport: a man in the mode of goodness is not so much affected by material miseries, and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. The representative type is the Brahmana, who is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness. The sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from sinful reaction because he has knowledge. He knows what to do and what not to do. Yeah, this is Brahmana. The difficulty here is that, Srila Prabhupada explained, when a living entity is situated in a mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and is better than other. In that way, he becomes conditioned. Yeah, Prabhupada mentioned here that because of knowledge, having knowledge, so he thinks that he's better than other and look others down. In that way, he becomes conditioned. Okay, and then text number 7. So number 6 about goodness, 7 about passion. Yeah, the mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti. And because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Purport: the mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. Woman has attraction for man, and man has attraction for woman. This is called the mode of passion. Yeah. Ultimately, why people are working so hard toward the end of the day, just want to attract the opposite sex. Why you have to get a lot of money? Why you have to have a new car? Why you have to have nice house? This and that. Work so hard. Because toward the end of the day, you just want to attract the opposite sex. And Srila Prabhupada clearly mentioned here, the mode of passion is characterized by the attraction between man and woman. It is not only man attracted by woman, but woman also attracted by man. Same thing. So this is the mode of passion. Yeah. The mode of passion, yeah, sense gratification. Yeah. Being honored in the society, having nice house, happy family. This is also another symptoms of a person being in the mode of passion. Yeah. You work so hard because you want position, you want some honor from the society. And Prabhupada continued, therefore, the whole material world is more or less in the mode of passion. Modern civilization is considered to be advanced in the standard of mode of passion. Yeah, that's a fact. How the modern advancement, so-called modern advancement, civilization, technology, and so on, it just try to give you a hope in which actually you can enjoy your sense in a better way, using better facility. So this is mode of passion. Everybody's competing. Text number 8. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which binds the conditioned soul. See, this is the character of a person in the mode of ignorance. Yeah. Madness, laziness, sleep. Purport: everyone can see that his grandfather has died, and therefore he will also die. Man is mortal. The children that he conceives will also die. So death is sure. Still, people are madly accumulating money and working very hard all day and night, not caring for the eternal spirit. This is madness. Yeah, Prabhupada talk about madness because Krishna mentioned madness here. Madness means prayasa, over endeavor to accumulate wealth. This is called madness. How much chapati you can eat in a day, how many plates you can eat in a day, not so much. And then when you get tired at night, it doesn't matter where, you just fall asleep. That means you're tired. You can sleep everywhere. You see people sleeping on the bus, not very convenient place to sleep, but still they sleep. That means you don't really need a big, what they call this, queen bed, queen bed to sleep. Yeah, because when the body is tired, you just sleep. You just need little space to sleep. It doesn't mean that I'm suggesting here everybody should become poor. No, but we have to use our intelligence in order to not becoming so mad, accumulating more than what we require. Yeah, that is called madness, prayasa. And then when Srila Prabhupada talk about laziness or indolence, yeah, such people are lazy when they are invited to associate for spiritual understanding. They are not much interested. Yeah, this is called laziness, not at all interested with spiritual things. And then talk about sleep. Srila Prabhupada says, that's another symptom of one embedded in the mode of ignorance is that he sleeps more than is required. 6 hours of sleep is sufficient, but a man in the mode of ignorance sleeps at least 10 or 12 hours a day. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxication and sleeping. Yeah. So here, Srila Prabhupada mentioned 6 hours. But long time ago, I read in the Back to Godhead magazine, Srila Prabhupada mentioned if a person sleeps more than 7 hours a day, he's considered to be swallowed by a python, by a snake of time. Yeah, wasting so much time in sleep. Yeah, so this is the symptoms of a person. Yeah, when they sleep more, we cannot judge them that they are in Maya because that type of body needs to rest more. But this statement is meant for those who are completely healthy person, young, healthy, normal person. Yeah, 6 hours is actually more than enough. If you get 6 hours sleep, especially at night, you will feel fresh in the morning. Yeah, fresh also throughout the day. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada mentioned go to bed early, get up early, make a person healthy, wealthy, and wise. Yeah, that's an underlying statement by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, when we sleep actually exceeding 10 o'clock at night, yeah, actually between 10 to 2, 10 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the morning, these 4 hours, yeah, each hour, there's a science explaining that each hour of this time is actually the value is equal 1.5 hours. So if we sleep these 4 hours, 10 to 2, yeah, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., the energy, the benefit that we get is equal to 6 hours. Yeah. But if you sleep like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, yeah, some people sleep from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, yet they still feel tired. Not enough. Not enough. Yeah. Because these hours, 10 to 2, is actually a productive hours to rejuvenate the body. Therefore, better to sleep before 10 and get up around 3 o'clock. That will refresh the body enough in the morning and throughout the day. Yeah. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana comments, yeah, ignorance is opposed to the other two modes. Yeah, pramada, madness, opposed to goodness. Alasya, indolence or laziness, opposed to passion. And nidra, sleep, opposed both goodness and passion. Here's the thing about the three modes of mental nature, that a person who's situated in sattva and rajagun, they still can utilize these two modes in devotional service to the Lord. Yeah. Sattva gun, for example, like getting up early in the morning, being clean, speak nicely, behave properly, that is sattva gun. That absolutely can be utilized in the devotional service. Rajagun, anger. Anger is one symptom of a person in the mode of passion. Anger, being passionate. Yeah. This can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Like Hanuman, out of his anger, he burned Lanka to serve Lord Ramchandra. Yeah. And then these two modes can be utilized in devotional service, but ignorance cannot at all. Because the symptoms of ignorance is here. Yeah, being lazy, we cannot lazy. And then sleep, too much sleep, dirty, yeah, cannot be utilized in the mode of ignorance. And always committing mistake, committing mistake. And then the 9th verse here. Sattvam sukhe sanjayati raja karmani bharata jnanam avrityatu tamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness condition one to happiness, passion condition one to prudent action, yeah, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. Purport: a person in the mode of goodness is satisfied by his work or intellectual pursuit, just as philosopher, scientist, or educator may be engaged in a particular field of knowledge and may be satisfied in that way. A man in the mode of passion may be engaged in productive activity. He owns as much as he can and spends for good causes. Sometimes he tries to open hospitals, give to charity institutions, etc. Now, although here, this kind of philanthropic activities like opening hospital, making roads, and some charity institution, but why still considering the mode of goodness? Because they want some respect, they want some names toward the day, toward the end of the day. Yeah. Oh, who built this hospital? Oh, who built this nice road? Who built this charity institution? It is me. So he wants some recognition. In that way, it is considered to be in the mode of passion, Rajagun. And the mode of ignorance covers knowledge. In the mode of ignorance, whatever one does is good, neither for him nor for anyone. Yeah. So in the mode of ignorance, you're always wrong. Yeah. So this is the distinction, more elaborate description about the three modes of material nature. So I would like to stop here for now because I don't feel healthy at the moment. My nose is running and I'm coughing a little bit. I have sore throat. So we have touched the aspect of the three modes of material nature slightly up to this point, that Krishna explained how the jivas entangled by the three modes of material nature and what are their symptoms, their characteristics. So further explanation will be discussed in the next verses. And ultimately, Krishna will give us a solution how to overcome this entanglement of the three modes of material nature. So, were there any questions or comments before this? Before I end the class? Yeah. Otherwise, we can drop it down here for now, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.